Okay, let's go.
All right, hello everyone. This is the second or third episode of the Culture Files, depending on how you count it. I think our introduction episode is like episode 0, so this should be technically episode 2, and we're going to talk about hospitality. Woo-hoo!
Yes, and I think it's a very good topic, especially when like people are planning their holidays to different countries and they want to find out more about local communities and traditions, well, the ways that they may be accepted there. It's a good one to know, just in case.
Also, before we get started, I am Nick, and I am here with my lovely co-host Lisa. Uh, and what like you said you wanted to start off with a question. Um, what was that question you had in mind?
I wanted to ask you if you have any preference when it comes to being a host or being a guest.
Oh my gosh, that's a good question. I feel like, well, I've never really hosted a party, so I feel like intuitively, like I'm usually a guest. Um, and honestly, I think one of the coolest moments that happened to me recently was I have this Romanian friend in real life, and he invited us to his house, and it was like really fun and stuff, and he was very hospitable, and like sort of at the end he offered us like drinks, like alcoholic beverages, but like from like Romania, and like it was really special because like literally the drink was like made from his like priest and stuff. Um and whatchamacallit, and like it had like one of those like fruits inside where they put like the fruit inside and like it grows. So it was like really cool. It was a very like limited edition, like very sentimental drink. And I thought that was like really cool. What about you? Do you think would you be more of a host, or would you be more of like of the guests? Or do you have experience being a host?
Um, yes, like a little bit of both, but I think it's more common for me to be either a host myself or like a part of the host family because whenever I have or used to have like in my teenage years um, some sleepovers, I always considered myself a host when it was my turn to have somebody like my friend coming over, and it was never more than one person. So in these cases, yes, I was a host because I planned our activities and our meals, or we could meet up and think about it a little bit more and go shopping. But in other cases, it's my family if it's a big event like New Year, because in Russia it's not Christmas, it's New Year that we celebrate. And on New Year's we have our family friends coming. It's like five friends, maybe with their partners or with their siblings or with like their children, because it's my parents that are friends of some people, and these people have just my peers that are my friends as well. And yeah, it's usually my side of the family who is hosting, because these guys, they may be very busy at work, and they like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to celebrate New Year. But if you invite them and they say like, yes, we have time, so yeah, we can join you, it means that you are hosting. And sometimes there is this problem when like people just don't have space to arrange anything. And it means that like if you have maybe a flat or a house, or you can pay for this sort of like maybe just getting something for a few hours. I remember I told you, I actually like months ago in fall or autumn for other listeners. So I asked you, Nick, about the name for a place that you would rent for maybe 4 hours, which would look like a studio, flat, but not a flat. Do you remember I sent you pictures like from my friend's birthday party? And I said, what would you call it?
I remember you asked me this, and I still don't know what it's called.
I think that in such cases, this girl, she was the host, even though it was not her property, you know?
Mhm. Did you find out what it was called, or like because I remember you asked me this, and like I was stumped because I was like, is it an apartment? Is it like a studio? Like is it a flat? Like I don't know. Um
Yeah, I actually asked some other
oh,
people.
you forgot
They
to.
all
Okay, that's fine.
came up with describing like the function of this flat, of this room, but not a name for it in English at least. In Russian, we call it loft. Like you can say, I'm going to rent a loft for a few hours. In Russian, would be like снять loft. Снять meaning to rent.
Okay, I see. I see it. I think like one of the things about like when you're hosting like a party is that like, well, not just when you're like hosting a party, but like in many cultures like it's really rude to like say no to someone when they offer you like a drink or like coffee or tea, or even like water or something. It's just like it's seen like very rudely in other cultures just to like decline that invitation. Is that the same in Russia, do you see, or like what do you see over there?
I think that we are quite neutral when it comes to rejections. We are not trying to find like roundabout ways to say no when we actually want to say no. Well, we can probably say, oh, I'll think about it. Yeah, thank you for inviting me. I will let you know closer to the date of the event. And if a person just didn't want to go from the very beginning, probably they will, I don't know, just it depends on your relationship with them, but they will text you. So I think people are trying to avoid situations when they need to communicate with you in person or over the phone. It's better for them to use a text message. But at the same time, we have other like ways of let's call it replies that have a specific percent, the percentage of possibility, like how likely it is that a person will come. Would you say you have the same in English?
Um it's it's interesting because like here in America, like we are sort of neutral as well. And like the reason I was like asking that was because like I know like I've seen like so many videos of people traveling to like other countries, and like specifically in like Southeast Asia, like I'm thinking Vietnam and like the Arabic like societies, like they really value their hospitality. And they like they offer like as I said, like tea or coffee or their gifts, or even in some case I saw someone like offer up like, oh, like come over for dinner like tonight, and like totally like if they it's like to such a degree that like if they would feel offended if they said like if the person like said no or refused their like invitation. And I was like really startled because like here in America it's like well, depending on what part, because like some people are very like transparent. They'll just say like, oh no, like well, it depends. Like yeah, it depends on the part, because some people will say like, oh, I'll think about it, and then like they'll just, that really means like, oh, like I'll just like cancel, I'll flake out on the last meeting or the last second. um but then like other people, um whatchamacallit, like other people, again, well, in some parts are more closer, and so they'll say like they really don't want to say no. But again, like I'm thinking of like the South, where like it's very, again, like where hospitality is like more so like valued there, and we even have a phrase for that, like it's Southern hospitality, just because it's like so it's so known here.
I see. And would you say that in like the southern states, it's more common for people to have a small talk?
I would say yes. That's actually really interesting that you point that out, because like it's that camaraderie, because it's like literally, I know like in the north, well, where I'm from, it's like the culture is a little bit more northern, and so people are kind of like more closed off. And like I remember when I was like living in the South, and like I went to college in the South, like even we were like on like some hiking trails, we were like hiking this like this one trail, and like literally like everybody was like stopping by just to like say like like good morning, like how are you, and like sometimes like even get into like a small like conversation. And especially like this is something that I found really interesting. There was like a study where like um it was like, well, it's a phenomenon where like people, let's say in like New York City, like apartment buildings would be like that people in a closer proximity that were from the cities in apartment buildings didn't actually know their neighbors. But like people in like a more agricultural, like kind of spread out, dispersed, like farmland thing, like the South, like despite their neighbors being farther away from each other, they actually knew their neighbors that were farther away than the people in the apartments that were like literally right next to each other. I found that like really fascinating.
It really reminds me of how it is here because like I've lived in an apartment for my whole life, and I will be honest, I am not really sure what my neighbors look like. Some of them I don't know their faces. And the reason for this is that it's quite often that they change, maybe like a couple of like let's say a couple, right, without kids, they live here for 2 years, and then they need a bigger flat and they move, or you even don't notice them moving, you just see that, oh, okay, they changed, it's somebody else. And people just sometimes they don't stay, and even if they do stay, we are not in close relationship. Like I think when you are in smaller communities, like you said, maybe something agricultural, maybe like at the countryside, people have more reasons to talk to each other, especially if there is something farming going on, some farming going on. Maybe one of them sells milk, and like a few other families, they know about it and they like the milk that like this family makes, and they need to just, maybe they can start a business together, maybe they can chat over something in the morning, every morning when one of them goes to job. So it's quite interesting, and I think it can be beneficial, but as well as quite frustrating, yeah, because this level of closeness, yeah, it's sometimes you just want to live your life more privately and you want to ignore more things, I think. And yeah, again, it's very individual. That's why some people are countryside, I don't know, girls and boys, and others are just like city lovers and future city dwellers. Yeah, and I know we are like a little bit away from the original topic, like hospitality, because I wanted to ask something, but I think it's kind of connected to the way people treat each other. So may I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, imagine that you are hosting a party, or maybe you just asked your acquaintance, not even a close friend, to come over, maybe for a cup of tea. And then you offer your acquaintance, you offer them a fruit, and you have two apples. So, how would you choose which apple to give to your acquaintance? Is there any sort of like rating? Are you going to actually look at the apples that you are giving to the guest? Does it even matter?
Oh gosh, I don't even know how to answer this question because I feel bad if I said I'm gonna give them the smaller apple, but it's just like no, I really don't know how to answer this because it's like I feel like this is low key a personality question. But yeah, I mean, in some cases I don't look, but in other cases, like it depends how good the thing is because like I don't know, it's kind of funny, also kind of selfish, but yeah, um I don't know. I feel bad now.
I wanted to compare our cultures.
Nah. Well, I mean, if they're an acquaintance, let's say they're a really good friend, like it depends. But like if they're an acquaintance, I guess they gotta earn that
Yeah, you
apple,
ask
right?
them to perform for you, like before giving them anything, like you gotta earn it. Oh, yeah, I thought about the quality of the treat, and if like one apple was rotten or like smaller, because I know this from my great grandmother. Obviously, I'm talking about like my yeah, my motherland and stuff. So my great grandma taught me that you need to look at these apples and you need to choose the one which is better, which smells better, which is tastier, and gives this to the friend, or even like to a guest. Maybe it's your new neighbor and you see them for the first time. Doesn't matter who it is. If this person comes to your place and you're offering them something, always choose something better for them. And yeah, I knew this from my childhood. My mom like knows this, obviously, but I remember it was like the conversation between me and my grandma again, great grandma, and she told me that she knows Russians that would do completely different things, the opposite thing. And I think you are right saying that it's just about your personality. It's kind of like a test. But please don't feel bad about like any answer. I think it's fine because it's not really selfish. It's just you know, a few days ago I opened this cookie, like cookie future future
Fortune
teller.
cookie.
Fortune cookie, thank you. Yeah, so this cookie said it's time to make time for yourself. And right now, what I have behind my phone case, like at this very moment, is this little note. And saying this, like looking at it, make time for yourself, carve out time for yourself, make this effort for yourself, choose yourself in certain situations, because to be honest, many people in general, they would do this, they would choose themselves. That's why it's a nice thing to remember about yourself and to treat yourself and to take this yummy apple for yourself.
Well, that makes me feel a little better, but I will also say, just because I'm a little bit on the topic still, I would never give my friends a rotten apple. Well, I mean, maybe, yeah, I guess the basic gist of the question is, would you give your friends the bigger or the smaller apple? And like I did say, sometimes I don't look, that I just give them any apple, but it depends. I don't know, it depends how much I care about it. Cause like if I'm like, I really want that apple, or like I really want the bigger cookie, then I'll keep the bigger cookie for myself. So I guess that's a better way of looking at it. But yeah, like yeah.
I actually am I allowed to ask a new question because it's like
Is this a secret personality test? Like
no, it's like it's still on the topic of food when there is food on the table and there are guests that visited you. Or maybe no, okay, right now what I'm going to ask you to imagine in this scenario, it doesn't matter if you are a guest or a host, it doesn't matter. You are somewhere with other people. Some of them you know, some of them are your friends, it doesn't matter. But you are there and you see this wonderful birthday cake and you guys have shared it. Or maybe if you don't like cakes, maybe it's pizza, doesn't matter. And at some point, it looks like everybody got a little bit of this meal, but of this dish, but then you see that there is only one last slice and you are not full yet. So the question is, are you going to take this last slice of anything that you like? How would you like, what would you do in this situation?
no, I actually never take the last slice of pizza, like, or the last slice of cake or whatever it is. Cuz it's like I learned like over time, well not over time, but it's like it's kind of like just like it's a, I don't know if you want to say like a funny meme or like a phenomenon here, that it's like it's the generic trope of like taking the last slice of pizza. Generally, the rule that I've seen is that like whoever paid for the pizza, or whoever like pays the most for the pizza, gets the last slice. But there was an instance where like and just generally speaking, like I know it's very like I'm like it's a little systematic, but like I don't actually like fill myself up at parties. So like me not being hungry isn't an issue, or me not being full isn't an issue, because I usually don't eat that much at parties. Um, and let's see, what was I saying? So yeah, like there was an instance where like I was with my friends, and like someone was actually hungry, so we just like gave him like the last slice of pizza. And in that instance, like I was actually like hungry. Um, but yeah, so but I guess like he was like hungry more, or, like he didn't feel good. I think he just didn't feel good. But he, yeah, so he got the last slice of pizza. I never take the last slice of pizza, and yeah, I guess well, yeah, that answers your question.
Yes, absolutely. I think it does depend on the number of people that are there, but I wouldn't take the last slice of anything. You explained it perfectly. But there is one thing that I would do. I would, at some point, ask everybody about this last slice, and I would offer to cut it into like an equal amount of into an equal number of other slices. If it's not a big party, maybe there are only like three of us, and we have one slice of pizza. I'm going to just divide it so everybody gets a piece.
Oh, that's too generous. I thought you were gonna be like I thought you were gonna be like, guys, I see that there's an extra slice of pizza there. I'll offer to take that off your hands. So
So yeah, I want you to like stop looking at it, and it's not going to be in front of you anymore because it's gonna be in my belly. No, I'm not like this.
1 second it's there, 1 second it's not. What happens?
Do you have any questions for me? I guess it's quite difficult to think on the spot, but still.
I was just wondering if some of the same things here in America applied to the um like there was a specific thing, I don't remember what it was, but if it applied to Russia as well. Whether, well, I don't know, like if it was like that last slice of like pizza comment, but yeah, just generally because it's like I don't know, just like if the Russian perspective is the same as the American perspective, I guess is the biggest thing on my mind.
I think since I asked that question, probably. Probably it is similar. But I know that some cultures are very famous for being hospitable, and it comes from like the roots of it are from the history of a certain, maybe, let's say, a tribe. And yeah, like in Russia, we have. Traditionally there is a big, usually round, with beautiful patterns, there is bread that's called karavai, and this is something that people used to greet, I mean, in the old days they used to use it to greet newcomers. So they would dress up and like wear some bright colors, red and yellow and white, and sing like a song, maybe be in a choir. So it just, when you look up such videos, because people can still do this as a part of a performance, you think, oh, so if you come to a Russian person, they're going to try to entertain you as well as to feed you even before you enter the house or the flat. So I'm pretty sure it can be very similar, or like there are some other ways to show this quality, this character trait in other cultures. But yeah, also this karavai, and like just to I guess I'm talking to my to the audience, to our listeners right now, trying to like describe what it looks like. But also, if they go and search for the images, they can see that it's our wedding tradition. Like there is this karavai, and the newlyweds, they have this task to tear some parts from this bread. Did I say it right, actually? Tear it, like using their hands.
I mean, I guess you could say tear it. We usually say like rip a piece off, I guess you could say too.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, they rip different pieces. First, it's like the man, then the woman, maybe the opposite. And well, they do this in turns, only one piece. They rip it off and they look at each other's pieces. And the person who has the biggest, the longest piece of bread is believed to be the like the head of the family, because they are building this family together. They are going to be just responsible for everything, for food, like, food bringer. So this is a tradition that used to be very widespread here.
Interesting that you point that out, because that kind of like contest of like ripping a piece or ripping pieces off of something and then seeing who gets, like, let's say like the shortest or the longest straw per se. um I wonder where that originates from, because it's like it's not just like, I feel like that's all around the world, because we have that too, and then as you said, in Russia you guys have that. um that is really interesting. I I actually didn't realize that. But it doesn't have to just be like, bread. It could be like straws. It could be like, I remember we were like, I guess we were doing it with like chocolate, but it was just like ripping pieces off. And just sadly, I always got the shortest one. I always got the smallest one, and I was like kind of like, I was kind of not really practicing, but I was like, it was always on my mind. Like, is it my grip? Is it like my placement of the thumb? I'm like, how do I get the biggest one? Because I always get the shortest one. I was like, what the heck? What's going on?
Maybe it's your biggest flex.
I don't know. Maybe it's secretly my personality one. I don't know. It's so weird. Also, one last thing. I know it's like super like off topic, but like I did like, we were talking about the Southern hospitality thing, and about like how neighbors know each other. And I just like, yeah, I know this is like super off topic, but I just wanted to like point out that something I wanted to say was like, um I hear like a lot from people who are from like the South, that like in very small towns, like everybody knows what's going on between each other, between themselves, like everybody knows each other. And that like sometimes like everybody's like up in each other's business, even when they don't want them to be. And that in like in bigger cities, that like, again, like as we were saying, like nobody really even like knows their like neighbors and stuff, and like sometimes like the neighbors even move out. And like I totally agree with you that like, yeah, there are some of my neighbors that like I don't even know like what they look like. I never like talk to them, and it's like, um not that I like, not that I mean or something, but like, I mean, sometimes like they're like super older than me, so it's kind of like, it's kind of strange. But yeah, I just wish that like hospitality was like a bit more there, just in general. Yeah, that's super off topic, but I wanted to just like add that in.
I like this thought, and especially when you mentioned the age difference. I think the reason why people may try to avoid situations in which they would have to talk to like a neighbor or somebody that they see, and like, well, sometimes they just don't know how to be be on the same wavelength with this person, especially like all the modern generations, people that are younger than we are. Like every day a new person comes into this world, and I guess it's my experience, since I'm like the person who actually teaches these new generations. So yeah, like when I work with children and teenagers, I see that it comes from the family, these traditions, like if they are going to try and change the language that they're using, depending on the person that they are with, like it's I remember I got some compliments on like how I speak to people, like if they are in their 30s and it's not that big of an age difference, I can just be similar. I can reflect things that they say, things that they do. And the same goes for people that are like in their 60s and 70s. I will use like all these formal pronouns in Russian, and I will use some beautiful constructions, not because I want to show off or something. No, just because I feel that this way of speaking will comfort this person I'm talking to. You know, this sort of like old people that maybe in their youth, they would go to a theater somewhere in Moscow and just listen to some classical music. So I imagine this, and when I try to be kind of like similar, to ask questions about their past, they really appreciate it. So it really does depend on how you perceive it, and if you actually want to put an effort into this, and if you want to find out more about this person, be it an older person or like a younger person, but just show the interest that is still there. And again, it's about hospitality, because you should be giving opportunities to another person to ask questions and to bring something to the table. It's so easy, so simple, but not everybody realizes this. What would you say?
I would say those are like really fantastic points that you were making. I guess it all boils down to respecting your elders. But also another thing that I noticed that we don't have in English, but like nearly like from every other language that I've studied, like it has like the distinction between like formal versus like informal speech. And like when you address someone that's like older than you, like the type of speech you use is like different. And I know for sure like Russian has this too. Like when you don't like know the person, or like it's more like formal. When you're talking to strangers or like older people, like it's more formal. And like other languages have it too. But like in English, we don't have that distinction. In very small situations we do. But like we for the most part like address like people the same way. And it's like it's I don't know, it's kind of like I wish we had that in English, you know. um yeah, yeah, like the distinction between like formal and informal. But like in English, it's like, like I mean maybe in a business setting, or like in a business setting, like they use more formal speech. um well, they do, but it's like in terms of like conjugations and like how like the verbs you use, it's like I don't know, like for the most part it's like the same thing. um and like it just shows like on a phenomenological like scale that the cultures like in a way like in another way respect their elders in this way. And it shows through the language and the values of the culture. But yeah, that's just like what I think.
Yes, that's a good one. Just when you think about it, like for how long we've been using languages as an instrument to communicate, and people, they grow up, they like bring something to the language, and then there is something that is there in this instrument that helps us communicate and uh, respect something that was in the past. I think, well, it depends on the circumstances, but in some ways, not having formal ways of referring to another person can be kind of useful, because I've been studying Spanish, and when our Spanish teacher, who is Russian, when she would switch languages from Russian to Spanish and backwards, so when she did it, I noticed from the very beginning she always would say it in informal Russian. And it really stood out to me compared to all the other experiences that I have had, like with other professors, only because of the subject that she teaches. So the way she uses Russian actually represents the language that she is teaching. And I felt more of a connection with her. Like it was very warm and very easy with her, just because you knew that like you were not afraid of making a mistake. It was like going not to a professor, but going to a lecture of your friend or something. And I understand that some people can argue with this and say that it's a bad thing. It can be a drawback of learning this way or teaching. But I think it's nice when you actually use these perks of a language or as a subject, and try to make it a part of your style, like your approach.
There's 2 points that I want to touch upon. The first one is that you said it was more like you felt this like connection with your professor when she was like teaching Spanish, and like it just reminded me of like when I was like the distinction between high school and college, where like in high school we like always had to address like the teacher by their like last name, like Mr. or Mrs. But then when we got to like university, it's like the professor was like, "Hey guys, you could just call me like Steve or something like that," and we were like on a first name basis. And I'm not sure if that's like also the same in like the international community, but like I just like thought of that distinction. And also the second, this might be an interesting question, but like, is there? I don't know if. Well, I don't think we have this here in English, but in Russian, is there like a specific like I don't know if you want to say like maybe like a word or like a specific like phrase or a specific like style that you would that you say particularly to like guests that's different than like let's say like foreigners, like if someone like travels to your country or like visits your country, um is there something special in the language that would make them different than like other people who are like locals or like native there? Um, I don't know, like if you had any thoughts. I thought that was like a pretty interesting question though.
It is, but I actually can't think of anything at all because if it's a foreigner and let's imagine they don't use Russian at all, it doesn't really matter to me. I'm going to be myself. I'm not going to use uh, any, let's say, sets of vocabularies that would make it feel like I'm talking to a foreigner, be it in English or in Russian. But if they are studying Russian, well, it depends on their level. Maybe subconsciously I would start talking to them a little bit slower, like more slowly. But like if I'm talking to them for hours, it's strange to keep it going. So I come back to my natural pace. And yeah, I think maybe we are the only thing that would differ. Maybe we are more polite with foreigners because we want to be more helpful, and it's not really the case like with Russians among Russians.
Okay, okay, I see. Um, okay, because I was thinking like if there was like some me with like a more like symbolic like kind of like understanding like the distinction between like natives and foreigners and like someone who has, let's say, like someone who's not of the same culture and then they just like go to that like go to that land or go to that like place, and if they're like, yeah, I guess like treated differently or like some like cultural aspect that's like different, but like yeah, I guess you kind of touched upon it with like your mannerisms and like how you like treat them differently, not in like a bad way but just like in a different way. um but yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, I guess you can see this difference in countries that build their economics like on the tourism industry, but it doesn't depend on the native language because maybe talking from my experience like in Arabic countries, it's more common for them like you just know if you're a tourist anywhere in the world you can be um like misled, you can fall into some traps, especially when it comes to your money. So that's because it just your looks usually give away that you are a foreigner, and this is what makes other people treat you differently, but they do this because they want to earn something and to get more from you because you look like an inexperienced person, somebody who doesn't know the rules and traditions. But I think yeah, it's only like when it comes to this bargaining relationship, like selling and stuff.
Oh shoot, that's true. You just essentially, so you just brought up the foreigner tax. Like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Yeah, I guess in that way like sometimes like I know I hear a lot in Arabic countries, like for example, not like scammers, well I guess in a sense they are scammers, but like they're like whatchamacallit, they know that someone isn't from that part of the world, and so they'll like charge like a higher like price or a higher rate. And so like that's why they always say like you shouldn't go for like the first price, and you should like negotiate down, because it's like they know you're not from there, and so they're gonna try to like get the most out of you. And because they know you have like the money, at least supposedly, if you do. Okay, so I think that just wraps up and concludes the podcast episode for today. Are there any like closing thoughts you want to like mention or say, or anything you want to like share?
I would just say that I didn't expect us to follow this route, like when we chose the topic for this episode. But it was so interesting that it, as always, inspired like new questions, even between us. We are like a duo, but I'm sure that everybody who is listening, they maybe we opened their eyes on something, and I was happy to do it.
Yeah, and that's really great. Also, um, yeah, it's a very interesting route that we were taking, and honestly, I always wish I could do more research on this, because like it's fascinating topics, but um, yeah, like I I feel like I should like do a little bit more research. Um, but anyways, you can do you want to like share your Instagram, or should I, or
Is it going to be like our feature before we say anything? Like it's the very end of the episode. I actually remember the first episode. On the first episode, I didn't share my Instagram, but funnily enough, everybody can find me if they follow us on our shared account, which is. And right now it's embarrassing. I don't remember the name of our Instagram account.
I want to say, well, I don't remember it either. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't say anything. I know it's like the culture files, but I'm not sure if it's the underscore culture underscore files. But
But okay, we can work with this. I'm opening Instagram right now. So this is the best thing. We are, yeah, the underscore culture underscore files, and like the nickname that you can see as well, it's the C files. And of course you can find us just by looking at the avatar.
woohoo! All right, and yeah, you can see our links in the bio. So give us a follow, and send us like any questions you have through like direct messages or whatever. And yeah, that concludes this episode for today. And always remember that the truth is always out there.